Good day everyone, I am Kayecee Lyn Ancheta from DSA1. Chapter 13, Strategic Decision Making in Oligopoly Markets. Number 1. Discuss fully what an oligopoly is. Cite an example. Oligopoly is an imperfectly competitive market structure consisting of a few large firms that sell identical or differentiated products. It also refers to a market dominated by a few large firms. Oligopolies may have considerable power to fix prices and output and treated in the hands of a few firms who can dominate a market to gain excessive supernormal profits. The degree of concentration in a market can be measured through concentration ratios. Here, if the top 3 firms have a combined market share of 90%, making the market highly concentrated, oligopolies make a competition with each other also, just like an automobile industry, the airline industry, and beer industry. So now let's proceed to the question number 2. Question number 2. Explain fully the following characterization of an oligopoly. 2.1. Few sellers. So typically, when you have a few sellers, it reduces competition. But the more sellers you have, the more competition. Not unlike in monopoly, there is only one seller, so there is no competition. Let's proceed to 2.2. 2.2. Either homogeneous or differentiated. The product type can be homogeneous or differentiated. Homogeneous is the quality differences from products produced by other firms, for example, zinc, copper, aluminum, or produced from these elements such as production of steel. While differentiated products is as much as monopolistic competition because the production of the products requires large amounts of capital, economies of scale, and entry of firms is limited. 2.3. Difficult market entry. Oligopoly industry is difficult to enter and compete as a small startup company because firms are large and benefit from economies of scale. Additional sources of barriers to entry often results from government regulation. So, it is difficult for new firms to enter the market. Question number 3. Explain fully the non-price competition feature of oligopoly. What strategies do firms operating in oligopolistic market use to increase market share? Oligopoly is best defined by actual behavior of firms. One of the key aspects of this is non-price competition. For example, firms are dynamically efficient by cutting the edge of technology to innovation for new products and new processes, particularly in telecommunication sector. Another one is the quality of service including after sales and also sales promotion from the consumer. It's like free shipping. We also have vouchers, coupons, and free gifts, just like in Lazada or Shopee. Because firms can be extremely competitive, business can also decide to compete against each other in the form of non-price competition. So let's proceed to question number 4. Do you think it is possible in the market that is dominated by a few large firms to engage in price-fixing agreements or cartel? Support your answer. Cartels is a way for a few sellers to get together and discuss common issues in an oligopolistic market. Firms form cartels in order to try and eliminate or reduce competition among themselves. A cartel agreement is an agreement that specifies that the firms will act in coordinated way to reduce their competition among themselves and hopefully raise profits. cartel or price-fixing agreements are often broken because one company feels a strong monetary incentive to run out the competition. Let's proceed to question number 5. What is the collusion in the context of an oligopolistic market? Collusion is a form of anti-competitive behavior. It is basically explicit or implicit agreement between suppliers in the market to avoid competition. A collusion can be horizontal between two firms at the same stage of production in an industry. It could also be vertical, where two firms might try to agree to control the supply chain, perhaps an extraction through the final consumer. So, it can be open or explicit open collusion or implicit, sometimes called tacit collusion. Proceed to Chapter 14, Advanced Pricing Techniques. Question number 1. Explain fully the following pricing techniques discussed in our textbook. Cite an example to illustrate said techniques. 1.1. Cost plus pricing. It is a pricing strategy that adds a markup to a product's original unit cost to determine the final selling price. It's one of the oldest pricing strategies in the book, wherein it is calculated by the cost of production and desired profit margin. For example, manufacturing companies, because the products they create have relatively predictable fixed costs, such as labor, machine maintenance, raw materials. It's easy to assign a profit margin percentage using markup pricing on top that sustains the business. Companies sell manufacturing products in bulk to existing customers with a contract that makes easier to build a predictable revenue stream over time without requiring a price increase or decrease. 1.2. Declining block pricing. It is about charging different prices for different quantities of a product, but not all consumers will pay the same price for a certain set of quantities. So, specifically, you are not giving or imposing a specific price on individual consumer. Rather, you are imposing a pricing scheme based on the quantity that they choose to purchase. And 1.3. Price discrimination. It is the practice or strategy of a business or seller for charging different prices to different customers for the same good or service. Many industries such as airline industry, the arts and entertainment industry, and the pharmaceutical industry use price discrimination. For examples, coupons, age discounts, occupational discounts, retail incentives, gender-based pricing, and creating loyalty programs. And 1.4. First-degree price discrimination. It exists when a firm charges a different price for every unit purchased by charging the maximum possible price for each unit. It can capture all the consumer surplus available. This is also known as perfect price discrimination. And first discrimination is relatively rare, while second-degree and third-degree discrimination is commonly practiced. For example, the premium unleaded petrol may cost the firm an extra 1 peso over standard unleaded, but the firm may sell this premium unleaded at 5 pesos. And because consumers need this product, they are willing to pay. Let's proceed to 1.5. Second-degree price discrimination. It means charging different prices for different quantities purchased, such as discounts for buying in bulk. For example, reward cards that provide frequent shoppers with a discount on future products. Next is 1.6, third-degree price discrimination. It involves charging a different price to different types of consumer. For example, cinema goers can be subdivided into smaller sub-markets such as adults and children's, or students and pensioners. This is the most common discrimination between the three. Let's proceed to 1.7, uniform pricing. It is common pricing policy in many types of markets, both industrial and retail. By uniform pricing means that a firm delivers its product at any customer at a fixed price. For example, even if posted prices are uniform across stores on any given day of the week, stores facing more elastic demand, example, lower income, sell a larger share of units on days with relatively low prices, leaving the weekly average price to be lower in such stores. 1.8, two-part pricing. It is also called two-part tariff. It is a form of pricing in which consumers are charged both an entry fee or fixed price and a usage fee or per unit price. Examples of two-part pricing include a phone contract that charges a fixed monthly charge and a per minute charge for the use of the phone, or charge for use of the phone. Let's now answer the question number 2. Make a research on the pricing techniques employed by the following businesses. What could be the reasons for pricing their product or service in this way? 2.1. Manufacturer of alcoholic drinks. They use cost-plus pricing techniques because their goal is to pick a price within good practice industry standards, but to also pick a price that makes their guests happy. In PriceBeam's price research, you can test different concepts and communication strategies before launching and understand consumers' willingness to pay for those options. Proceed to 2.2, retailer of consumer appliances. They use uniform pricing techniques. Retailers use pricing lining technique to group common items at set price points, rather than setting the retail price based on the cost or competition. Price lining is a way to simplify the pricing of assorted goods by establishing tiered price points that can support assortments of goods. Let's proceed to 2.3, hospitals. Based on Nation Hospital of Pakistan, they use price discrimination and cost-plus pricing. Hospitals, on the other hand, have a different methodology of pricing. Some are driven by the cost of hospitals and how acceptable they are with the consumers. At times, it is dictated by the Ministry of Health or health insurance companies, which stipulates the pricing level. Just like fee-for-services, diagnosis-related groups, prospective or fixed reimbursement, and retrospective reimbursement. Lastly, 2.4, government services. They use marginal cost pricing, which is a price of a product is equal to the extra cost of producing extra unit of output. Each product unit sold, only the additional or the addition to total cost resulting from materials and direct labor. Services should be priced at the intersection of the demand curve and the short-run marginal cost.